Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Build Your Best Life. I am super excited to be here today. It's warming up a little bit, just a little bit. So I am happy. Good evening, Cynthia. How are you today?
Good evening, Deborah. I am doing good, and I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I see Agnes is already here, ready to go. And Dan, so thank y'all for tuning in. We have a great topic for you today, but I want to thank you so much for all of your prayers, your likes, your comments, and your shares. Keep them coming. I appreciate it. Make sure that you comment during our talk today and share so we can get this content out all over the world. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube page, please do that. I know that you mostly tune in to Facebook, but we never know when social media will have some hiccups. So I don't want you to miss anything. So subscribe to my YouTube Build Your Best Life page as well. Well, Cynthia, tell us about what you've been having going on with you.
Well, the same thing. I still do my girls group. We're going into 11 years this year, so I'm excited about that. It's an empowerment girls group. I'm really starting to focus more on my business. I'm trying to get. I'm going to retire in 4 years from my day job and have my business as my income, my day job, and I'm really excited about it because God has been really revealing a lot of things to me. He's been opening doors. He has been, sometimes we act like we're surprised that things happen. We know where it comes from, but that excitement still, it's surprising. And for those that don't know, my business is Courageous Conqueror. It's life and empowerment coaching. And I'm excited about that. I love working with people. I love working with women and young girls and just helping them to enhance their life, through one-on-one coaching, through group coaching, whatever it takes so that we can feel better about ourselves. So that's what I've been doing.
Hey, it sounds like a lot. As long as you love doing it, I know it just goes by so fast. It's like nothing to it, right?
Exactly.
Yes. I don't know why I can't see my comments. But so our topic today is one I know that you have heard a lot about, but it's going to be crucial conversations. Crucial conversations. We always run into people or situations, and things don't go like we would want them to go, or someone says something out of place, or we trying to raise our kids, and some things that we need to sit down and talk to them about, and we really don't want to broach those topics. So, but sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and sit down and have those crucial conversations because they are essential.
They sure are.
Yes. So, Cynthia, if an associate, acquaintance, or friend does something that seems out of the norm for them, would you have a crucial conversation with them? Why or why not?
You know, Absolutely. I would probably hesitate at first because we don't want to have certain conversations with certain people because it could depend on the person, the situation. It just depends because everybody's different. We all have our opinions. We all like to think that we're always right, and sometimes we're not open-minded enough to listen to what somebody else says, or we listen with our ears closed. We do. That's just part of sometimes our human nature, and it's crazy because we don't want to think that somebody else is going to be able to tell us how to do what we think we're doing right.
All right.
So, I was reading up a little bit and I got this definition. It says, "What are crucial conversations?" And some examples of crucial conversations include giving feedback to a boss on a critical task, negotiating a promotion, handling minor or major disagreements with your partner, asking a friend to repay a loan, or that one's a tough one right there.
Right.
But these conversations are also hard to master. During these conversations, opinions vary, stakes are usually high, and emotions are strong. More often than not, we are on our worst behavior during these conversations because, again, we think what we're about to say is going to be, that's it. That's it. And so at times we prefer to avoid them. We just want to ensure that we don't spoil our relationships. And that's probably one of the big fears, is that if we think that if we speak up, it's going to ruin a relationship. It's going to, they're going to be upset with us. They're going to be mad with us. But also, if we don't have these conversations, it could also ruin a relationship.
Yeah.
You know? And so, yeah, if I had a coworker, an associate, a friend, I would, and it's just to get started, I think, is the scary part.
Mhm.
Because again, we don't know. We know how we can play it in our mind and how we think it's going to go, and usually it doesn't go like that.
Right.
It's more of, oh, I've already had played in my mind what I was going to say and how I was going to respond, and then it catches us off guard. It would catch me off guard. But that's why it's important to have these conversations, because I always will tell my friends and family, if I'm doing something that is upsetting to you, annoying you, upsetting you, please bring it to my attention, because I may not realize that I'm doing something like that. It may just be my normal go-to. Sometimes we're in a hurry. We just go and we don't think. We speak before we think. And I've always told my families, please stop me and let me know, because if you don't tell me, I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it was like, you were saying the hardest part is getting that conversation started, because you don't want to break ties with someone or anything like that. But if you don't, you probably still will do it. And, coach is teaching about being frustration free. So
Yeah.
if we don't have those conversations, that person is going to continue to do whatever, and we're going to be the ones that's frustrated. So,
Exactly. And the tough conversations, they are challenging,
well, yeah,
but they are necessary. And if we handle them well, or in a I want to say professional, just using that word, just as it is, professional manner, it can lead to a stronger, more honest, and a more vulnerable relationship between me and my boss, or me and my spouse, or me and my sister, or whatever. But I just think it's so important, because I know with me, it is scary to say, hey, by the way, you know what? Can we talk? And usually when you hear those words, can we talk? Something's coming.
yep,
Something's coming. It's either going to be good or bad. But normally when you hear those words, it's like, okay, what's going on? What happened? And sometimes it takes practice. We may not always get it right. We may mess up. But then again, that's how we learn how to do, or have these conversations, to be truthful, um, to not get so defensive, because our defenses are high on both sides.
right,
And who knows, sometimes you may need somebody in the room with you to be like a facilitator or a mediator, or, just to make sure that, hey, you know what, let's take a breather. Let's start this conversation up again. But I think that if that's done, it can benefit on both sides, not just, just because I say, hey, I want to talk, or can we talk, doesn't mean that I'm right. Because they
right.
may point something out to me. It's like, well, I believe this, and I learned something. But yes, it is very crucial to have these conversations. Very.
Exactly right. And it's funny now that I'm past middle age, I tell my sons, I said, like you're saying, tell me. If you don't tell me, I don't know. But I tell my sons, I said, look, if I get to a point where it's like I want to drive and I shouldn't be driving, or something else I'm doing and I shouldn't be doing it, y'all need to speak up and say, hey, mom, no. Because somebody needs to tell me. Because you sometimes, I notice people sometimes, and it's not a certain age that certain things happen, but you ever been on the road and you see somebody and they're on the highway and they're going about 25 miles an hour, or they're way down low in the car, and you're like, how are they seeing the road? And you're
Yes.
wondering, is nobody in their family saying anything?
Yeah. But think about it. We say this and we ask our family or friends to let us know. But what's the first thing we do when they say something? Our defenses go up. Yes, our defense goes up. Like, but you told me. Yeah, but I didn't mean for you to do it. But it's true. It's true.
Yes. All right. If you have just joined us, we are talking about crucial conversations, those conversations that need to be had. And for whatever reason, you're reluctant to sit down and have those conversations, whether it is at home, at work, wherever, church, anywhere. Something can pop up anywhere. You can be in a store or something. And, I think about one of my pet peeves is when you're in line and people get right up on your back, and you can't get waited on until the person before you does, but they'll get right on your back like they can make something happen, and it really bothers me, but I never say anything. I just stand there, and it's like, if they don't back up, if they don't back up. Sometimes I know I probably need to turn around and say, excuse me, you're not backing up just a little.
And we want to do that, but again, sometimes it's like we have to learn to pick our battles, so to speak. And today is totally different. Today's times are totally different because it may be innocent, like, oh, like you said, excuse me, do you mind backing up? Some people may say, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sure. Other people may automatically become defensive and be, they may curse you out because you turn around and said something.
You are so right.
Yeah.
Hi, Lisa Fielder Morrison.
Yes, hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining in, everyone.
Yes. So why do you think people, and you kind of said some of this, have such a hard time having those conversations besides, it makes you feel uncomfortable?
I think people struggle with crucial conversations because it's a combination of emotional, psychological, and interpersonal factors that make us uncomfortable, stressful, and it can be potentially threatening, on either side. As we said, I was reading and doing a little research, and it was funny that I got a breakdown of a few key reasons why crucial conversations can be this way. One of them was fear of negative outcomes. You don't want to upset the other person. You don't want conflict or confrontation. You don't want to lose control. You don't want loss of control, because it involves uncertainty and the fear of losing control and the outcome not being, what you want and stuff like that. Or because of negative repercussions. There's several reasons for that. And then another reason was emotional discomfort.
Ooh.
That one's big because we have strong emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be overwhelming to manage sometimes because, when you're in a conversation and you just, in your side what you want to say, you're adamant about saying that, and you're strong on your belief. Again, it may not be the right thing, but emotional discomfort because of strong emotions, the vulnerability, it requires vulnerability because it's uncomfortable for those who prefer to avoid emotional exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then personal insecurities, low self-esteem, fear of judgment, past negative experiences, all of those.
Yeah.
And then another breakdown, which, these were all, I was like, oh my gosh, I never broke it down and thought of that. I just thought, because we're afraid to have them. But there's so much more that goes into it. Cognitive and communication challenges, difficulty communicating effectively. How can we effectively do it where somebody's going to understand? We're going to take the skills that we know and try to express it to them. Misunderstandings and misinterpretations. I think that's a big one.
That's big.
Yeah, because, communication, breakdowns can occur during that. And I know sometimes if somebody's telling me something and I hear one word that automatically I'm like kind of getting on the defense, I don't hear anything else. And so whatever else was said could have been something positive after that, but I'm stuck in that misunderstanding or miscommunication. And then lack of empathy and perspective taking. Sometimes we forget to use our empathy in situations. And we just are like, okay, we're going to talk about this. Let's go. This is it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then another key reason was avoidance and coping mechanisms. Again, fear of conflict, procrastination and denial, and passive aggressive behavior. I mean, think about it. Think about it. And then another negative outcome could be relationship dynamics, power imbalance. Do they feel like I'm trying to overpower them? Do they feel, or do I feel like, oh, because they're going to respond this way, you're trying to, control and take power over what I'm trying to tell you. And again, past negative experiences. We could have had a past experience where it didn't go right and it turned out horrible. Just because we have these conversations that need to be spoken of doesn't mean that everything is going to be like the past, that it's going to be negative. I think a lot of good can come out of it, and you can learn to communicate with each other and learn to trust each other. I mean, I know that if I have somebody that I can talk to and talk to about anything and tell them, hey, Deborah, please tell me when I'm out of line. Please explain to me, have these conversations with me if I say something that's offensive. And I know that if you're coming to me with that, then I need to take a look in the mirror and step back and think, okay, what did I say? Was it my tone? Was it the way I just came aggressively? Was it, did they misunderstand? All of these things that we just talked about.
Right.
And so there's just so much lack of trust and respect. Do you want to hear something from somebody that you don't have respect from? No, no. But again, sometimes these conversations, not sometimes, they need to be had. They need to be had. And so when I was reading all that, I was like, oh my gosh, I never really thought that there was that much involved in having a conversation that needs to be had. Again, I just thought, it's uncomfortable. Maybe they're not going to like me afterwards. Maybe I'm not going to like them afterwards. But, it's still, there still is a respect factor that comes with everything.
Right.
Yes.
And it's like you say, it's a real sensitive situation.
Yes.
Like I'm kind of a nurturer, and so I'll just say something or tell somebody something because I care about them. But like you say, they know that if I'm saying it, it's probably for their good, but they still get on the defensive. And I had that happen to me about a month ago, and I was like, why are you, doing this thing? And I said, I don't think that's right. And they said, well, I'm doing it because I saw somebody else doing it. And I said, well, but that's not a good reason to do it. I think I would have went to the person that was in charge of everything and asked them. I said, you do what you want, but I don't think that's right. I don't think it's supposed to be doing that. I said, I'm just trying to help. And so then later they did go ask the person, and I was right. And then they said, I was out of order. And I was like, but, and I hope you took it the right way. But I was just saying it because I love you. If I didn't care, I was like, do whatever you want to
do. Right. Exactly. It's kind of like when we were kids. I don't know about you, and this may show my age, but when I was a kid, if I tried to do something, we all do things. My mom would say, well, if somebody jumped off the bridge, are you going to jump off the bridge too?
Right.
Right?
No.
But, we have to, you did it from the goodness of your heart because you saw something that could have affected them negatively. And you want to just make sure that they were in a safe space or a safe mindset before they did that. And those conversations, no matter what the situation is, are very crucial. Very crucial.
Yes. Hi, Jocelyn. How are you?
Hey, Jocelyn.
All right. So, Cynthia, if you can be candid, what is an example of a conversation that you dreaded but felt all parties would be better after having a conversation?
Oh, yes. Actually, there's a few, with working with girls, these young ladies, sometimes it's hard to talk to them or, let them know, hey, you're not doing this, because especially teenagers at that age, it's like, they're going to close it down, cut you off, not listen, halfway listen. But some of the conversations that, I've had with them about, hey, we've talked about this is the way to act. This is not the way to act. I noticed you acting this way. Stuff like that. I can think of one that was a very, very crucial conversation for me. Many years ago, for some of y'all that have known me for a while, I was married a long time ago and I lost my husband. He passed away in 2013. But prior to him passing away, prior to him getting sick, we had a very crucial conversation. And it was about if something were to happen to either one of us, you know, I would want you to move on with your life, to enjoy life, you know. And that was one that has really stuck with me because I honestly don't believe I think if we didn't have that conversation, I think I would have felt like I'm stuck.
Mm.
I'm I can't think of the words. I just know that it helped me because knowing to initiate that conversation is hard in the first place.
All right.
You know, you're looking at your spouse, and you're like, "Hey, by the way, if something happens to me, I don't want to live this certain way. If I'm put on life support, I don't want to have to live that way. That's not me. If I'm, if something happens to me, I want you to enjoy life. I want you to find somebody else if it's in God's will. I want you to live happily and move forward in life." And I know for a fact that that is one thing that has helped me move on in my life and meeting somebody wonderful. And just, it was by the grace of God that he allowed us to have those conversations. And so that was my personal experience, my personal example. Um, and it made a difference. It really did make a difference.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that. And that
Yeah,
is a very important conversation, but that's one you don't want to have.
it is because, I remember that he brought it up. And, looking back, it's like, God put something in us, you know, I think, I don't know if he felt something or knew something at that time, but for him to initiate that conversation. And I remember thinking in my mind, I don't want to have this conversation. I don't want to have this conversation. But I remember we did. We did. And so, and then, as well, being in coaching and stuff like that, you have crucial conversations with your clients.
All
I
right.
mean, you have to be upfront and honest with them, because that's what they're there for.
All right.
They
Exactly.
may not always like it, but I like I said, I tell my friends and family, and I said this earlier, I'm gonna be honest with you. You can be upset with me if you want, but you ask me to do this, and I will do it. I will do it.
All right. That's good. If you have something that you want to share with us, you can put it in the chat. We'll be glad to put it up.
Absolutely, because I know we've all had some kind of conversation with somebody that, sometimes they go very well, and other times it's going to be like, oh my God, you may lose a friendship over it. But then if you don't have that conversation, you may lose a friendship over it.
Yeah.
If somebody is meant to be in your life, they're going to be in your life and they're going to accept what you're telling them and give you feedback. You know, I know that for me, if I have a friend that I can say, Deborah, always be upfront and honest with me, and you came to me and told me something, I would rather be upset for the minute, then go back and reflect, than not to have had that conversation and found out, well, she knew about it and she didn't, it would upset me if I knew that you knew that I did something wrong and didn't come and say, hey, Cynthia, you weren't right on that, or you should have done it this way. I mean, I'd rather be upset for the good than be upset for the bad,
All
if that
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I know I have a tendency to talk with my facial expression and my eyes, and I have a friend. I don't care what the subject is, she always finds something positive in it, but I can, like, oh, I know I'm wrong, but she'd be quick to say, Deborah. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I know I gotta change my facial expression because it's something that's not right. But she
Yeah.
called me out, which helped me, because you never, especially being in leadership, you never want to turn someone off, just by your facial expressions, you're not saying anything, but still, no, something, she got something going on in her mind. So
Right. Yeah.
real good with that.
Yeah. Because it's just not the verbal words that comes out. I mean, because sometimes, sometimes it's like if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
Right.
But you're speaking with your body language, you're speaking with your facial expressions. So same difference.
It is.
Yes.
Very much so. Oh, yes, you can, Lisa. You can always come back and watch. It never goes away. It's always available on Facebook and YouTube. Well, we thank you for joining us while you were available. Yes, catch it later.
Absolutely.
And please
Absolutely.
share.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, this has been a good conversation. It needed to be had. So,
Yeah.
can you provide us with some reasons that crucial conversations will benefit people that are striving to build their best lives?
Yes. And some of these things we've talked about, but we can, talk a little bit more about it. The importance, there's several reasons why it's important to have these conversations. Um, just like I told you, my personal experience, it was important. It was important for me to move forward. It was important for these to be talked about, for trusting, each other, that, you have each other's back, but strengthening relationships and building trust, knowing that you can talk to your family member or your partner or a boss in for whatever the situation is. It will strengthen that relationship, and you learn to build trust because you know that you can talk to them, and you can effectively handle what's being said, the conversations. It makes a difference. It really does, and it builds trust, strengthens bonds, whether it's personal or professional. I mean, the conversations, again, they're just really important, really important. Another reason would be to help prevent conflicts or resolving disputes, because it's a platform to address conflicts, disagreements head on, promoting understanding, finding solutions together, not just giving one sided. Um, it's it needs to be done in a safe space for open communication. Again, like I said earlier, whether it's two or if you feel like maybe you need a middle person, a facilitator, a mediator, just somebody to sit there and say, "Hey, let's step back, let's take a breather, and let's look at this conversation logically," because you don't want it to escalate and lead into anything negative or bad. You want it to escalate and lead to a healthier, more productive relationship. Yes, Jocelyn. Yes. Yeah. And then I think another one would be, um, it fosters open communication and transparency. And I like that because to have a crucial conversation, you have to be transparent. And I think that's one of the hard things for a lot of people is because um, you want to give them real facts in real situations and be upfront with them. But then sometimes we hold back and are not fully transparent. You know, giving a little bit, you got to know which conversations with which people that you can go in and just boldly say, hey, you did this, da da da. And then you have to know which ones you have to tread lightly.
Right.
Because it's fostering that communication between the people. You wouldn't come to your spouse and talk to them about a situation. You would be more apt to just say, hey, honey, this. And as a coworker, you might tread a little lightly just because you don't know their background, you don't know their history, you don't know how they're going to react, and you don't want to challenge them, but you want to challenge them. And
Right.
so it's just, it leads to a better understanding, reduces misunderstandings, and promotes a collaborative environment when you can be transparent. Another one was at 3 or 4. I don't know. I'll give you a few more.
I don't know.
Um, Preventing negative consequences.
Mm,
If you avoid crucial conversations, it can lead to negative consequences because you're not talking about it. It can strain a relationship. It can You can have unresolved conflicts, resentment. You may have because like I told you earlier, I think I would be upset if my friend didn't tell me something and I found out that they knew and didn't tell me, and be upset. I would be resentful. Well, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you let me know that I was acting a fool? Or why didn't you let me know that that was not, um, the right information that I gave? I think if you address the important issues and do it in a respectful manner, it helps, and be transparent about things. It will help. It will help with preventing the negative consequences, because there can always be negative consequences.
right.
But in life, there can always be negative consequences if we don't address something of our own.
Right.
And then I would say improving, no, enhancing. I don't know, because there's a lot. There's several here. I would say personal and professional growth, because we're teaching ourselves that it's okay to have conversations like this. So for me, that's a personal growth for me. If I'm not used to it, I don't know how to do it. I want to learn how to productively speak to somebody, and talk about the what do they used to call it, the taboo things, or the things that, no, if you can't say anything nice, don't say nothing at all. But if it's a conversation that needs to be had, I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn how to do it in my everyday personal life, and I want to know how to do it in my professional life, especially when you're out there, and like you doing what you do with your coaching, and me getting more into my coaching. How could how could somebody trust you if you're not giving them what they're asking for? Whether they get upset or
Right.
not, if they're asking for it, you got to do it. And so it takes growth, and I think I'm learning. Do I have a ways to go? Yeah, because sometimes I don't want to talk about certain things. I don't want to have those conversations, or I know that I'm going to go in and have a conversation and I dread it. I dread it. There was a situation with one of my young ladies that I knew I had to kind of have a conversation with her. And here I am, an adult, and this is what I do. And I mentor these girls. And I found myself dreading to have the conversation with her. We
Yeah.
had it, but it was like I avoided it for a little while. I did. But I think once you start learning that, your confidence builds up. You learn that you can be stronger as a leader. Um, you can have more success in showing or maybe guiding somebody. Hey, I had to have this conversation before. Some people may say, just go for it and say it. But again, it depends on the person. You can't just always just go for it and say it. Sometimes you have to, again, tread lightly. But I think there were so many things. When I saw the topic today, Deborah, or when you sent it, I was excited about it because um, I don't know if I've been working on, in my business, I've been working on trying to get my podcast up. I know I need to get myself a little bit more motivated. Um, but it's funny because, my business is called Courageous Conqueror, and my podcast is going to be courageous convos, courageous conversations, but courageous convos. And it's to talk about the things that people don't want to talk about. It's to talk about the things that are swept under the rug. It's to talk about things that are supposedly taboo. But I think when you talk about things like that, it's good for others because so many people feel the same way that they can't have this conversation, and so they're stuck. We're all stuck. It's like we know somebody's going to say it eventually, and we're just waiting for that next person to say it. Well, why not you be that person and try to help somebody else? So it's just it's one of those things that I just feel is very, very important in every aspect of your life, is to be able to learn how to have conversations that are uncomfortable, that we dread, and we may lose sleep over it. Like it goes back to, what? Lord, guide my steps, give me the words to say, give me the wisdom to speak to whoever I need to, give them the wisdom to listen before they snap back or say thank you, whatever. But I mean, it's so crucial. These conversations are so important. And I just really love this topic. And, there's just so many things, like I said, that go into it. I just thought that it was, people don't want to have these conversations for fear. But when I started looking into it and saw all these different reasons, I'm like, wow, it made sense. Touches
Right.
on every topic, every feeling that we may have. But it was just, I thank you, because this topic is very important, very important.
Yes. Yes, it's very, very deep and as we state, uncomfortable. But think about, we have so many single mothers now, and they may not have a male in their child's or son's life to talk about certain things. So moms have to bite the bullet in some conversations they have to have with their sons. And being a
Mhm.
mom, you may not know, a male's thinking or how they would think, but as a female and being an adult, these are some things that you need to watch out for, son. These are some things that you should not ever do, son. Before you ever think about doing this, son, think about this, this, and this. And, when I was single, my oldest, we had those conversations. He probably thought, well, what is wrong with my mama? But whatever it was, we sat down and we had that conversation, because as I grew up, a lot of things I didn't learn until I would sit and hear someone else talking about it. My mom, the only thing my mom told me, you better not get pregnant. But she never told me anything else. How you get pregnant, what not to do. She never told me any of that stuff. So I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know when you don't know. So you have
Right.
conversations.
Yeah, because at that time, for whatever reason it is, some people, like you said, she said, don't get pregnant. That was crucial conversation enough. You just don't do it. But then, if, like you said, if you don't know, you don't know. Well, you may not have known. Well, I know you can kiss, you can't kiss. You don't know the details around it, and that conversation needs to be expanded, not to just say no, don't do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So y'all, everybody think about those conversations and go ahead and have them.
Yes, as tough as they are,
Yeah.
you know, as many butterflies are in your stomach before you do it, take a deep breath and just, just do it. Just do it. It's important.
Right. Yes, and then we probably could do a part two to this, because, like I say, it comes in all phases of your life. Because I never forget when my company did a major layoff, and I had to go find some space and just get all my crying out before I could go talk to my employees. That was just, oh my goodness! I got to go tell somebody they got to go back to their desk and get their things and go home. Really, that was hard.
Mm, yeah, because it's not just you, it's other people that you have I don't want to say that you have control over, but that you have to, that you care about,
Right.
and you knew that it was going to be hard not to just have it, but you knew it was going to be hard for them to hear it. Because sometimes, when we're having these conversations, we're not thinking of the hearing aspect of it. We're thinking as we're telling you, but put yourself on the other side. If somebody comes and has a conversation, a crucial conversation with you, how are you going to perceive it? How are you going to react? Are you going to get upset? Are you going to be thankful? Everything goes through your mind. Of course, again, your first thing is, who are they to tell me? Who are they to? No, sometimes we just need to close our mouth and open our ears and listen, take it in. If you're upset about it, don't respond right then. Take a minute, take 5 minutes, take 5 days, whatever it takes
Right.
to examine yourself and just say, okay, hey, they pointed something out to me. Am I really doing that? I didn't realize I was doing it. I need to take a better look at myself. I need to take a better look and maybe approach it differently, and then go back and say, you know what? I appreciate you being honest with me. Yes, I was upset about it because it's hard to hear the truth sometimes. And just appreciate that somebody cares enough to be able to correct you or talk to you about it. And just hope and pray that they aren't doing it just out of spite.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for all the research and everything that you put into this topic. It has been wonderful. I really appreciate it. And thank you everyone who tuned in today. We have some new people. I hope you will like my page and come back. Thursday? Yes, Thursday. Let's talk about it. Our topic is going to be who, when, why. So please join us 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5:30 Central Time on Thursday. Brittany Clark and I will be talking about that topic. So thank you again. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And again, thank you so much, Cynthia. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you all the time, Miss Deborah. You are an amazing coach, amazing mentor. You inspire me on the things that you do, the shows that you put out, the conversations that you have, just everything that you do. And I truly appreciate you and the opportunity always to be on your show. It truly is an honor to be able to associate myself with you. I love you to death, and I just think you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. Now, remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan, it's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed, stay safe, stay warm. And I hope to see some of you on Thursday. Good night.
Thank you.